see, so what it actually was reverse psychology, because I put this video out yesterday saying Blizzard won't be doing the PTR anytime soon. So what did they go and do? They went and announced the PTR the very next day. I'm only joking, it wasn't reverse psychology. I genuinely didn't see them doing it this quick, and you can see that it's rushed. The reason I say you can see it's rushed is because ordinarily, like I explained in the video yesterday, we get 2 PTR weekends, normally with a week in between where it gives them time to actually fix bugs, fix problems with what we found in the first PTR weekend. Now, if you've looked at the Wellhead post, you will see that they actually said there's 2 PTR weekends, but there's not. There's 2 PTR tests, but they're not both at weekends, which worries me ever so slightly. So just so you're aware, the first PTR test is going to start on November the 4th and run through to the 6th. Now, this is midweek testing. It's actually going to be running from Tuesday till Thursday. Now, don't get me wrong, this blue post could be amended, and it might not actually be right as we're seeing it at the moment, because doing a midweek test and the very next weekend going into the second round of testing basically says to me that actually they've sat there and gone, we don't want to wait until after Christmas and New Year. We need to get Throne of Thunder out before then. So this is kind of the only way they can do it, where they give themselves enough time to fix problems after the second raid test to be able to have a very late November launch to actually enable people to have a good couple of weeks of progress or few weeks of progress before going into Christmas, and ultimately most guilds take a break over Christmas. Now, when I say I'm worried, the thing that worries me is the fact that they are going from a midweek raid test to the very next weekend being the second raid test, and we've seen tests where they've literally had, you know, a week in between both raid tests where bugs have still not been fixed even though they've been mass reported, and then some of those bugs have even made it into live. So it worries me a little bit at how rushed this is looking, but at the same time, like I said yesterday, with how stale Tier 14 is feeling for the vast majority of people, I totally get it. And this is something that they absolutely needed to do, and it's kind of actually got me at least a tiny bit excited to log back on MoP again, because I've been very vocal with the fact that I am kind of extremely bored of Tier 14, and I know I'm not alone, but I also know there's many of you that are like, oh my god, it's because you've played on ridiculous amounts of private servers and all of that. It's really not. It's just Tier 14's pretty pants. So what does this actually mean for a launch? On the basis of how rushed the raid testing looks to be, I would say if this schedule doesn't change, we're going to have the first raid testing on the 4th to the 6th. Then we're going to have the second raid testing on the 14th to the 17th. And then I would actually say it will be the following Thursday where we get a global release, which would be the 27th of November. If they push it as late as like the 4th of December, so we still get a good 2 to 3 weeks before it is time just to switch off and spend time with families, kids, all that sort of thing for Christmas, then that would work as well. But I think on the basis of how quick it looks like they want to get the testing done, I do think they actually want to get it launched sooner rather than later. Now, this does bring me to some strange things that we've seen with the update as well. So if you're on NA, you'll know. If you're on EU, you might know if you watch people stream that are on NA. And again, most of this is probably bugs, but apparently I'm hearing that you're not getting any gold from old historic content. So if you go and do old raids, they're not dropping gold whatsoever. It does appear to be a bug, because even if you're of the relevant level doing that content, it's not dropping gold or silver or anything either. In the challenge mode section, it's now showing platinum as well as just gold. So you've got now bronze, silver, gold and platinum with a lower time. Again, we've not actually heard anything from Blizzard whether they're adding new rewards, if this is actually meant to be there, or it's something they're working on for the future and it's accidentally made its way in on patch day. But it's there, so you might as well go and do it. But I have actually checked. I've looked on the vendor for challenge modes, I've looked in the achievements, and I don't see anything where there's actually any extra rewards at the moment for doing platinum challenge modes, which kind of leads me to think that it's not actually meant to be there at the moment, and it probably is for the Throne of Thunder phase where they're going to try something new, maybe add some more incentives to actually go and do challenge modes. It's worth mentioning you do get more Valor points for platinum as well, so I'm guessing it is really just there as an extra bit of an incentive. And the Shah Touch mounts are missing as well, so if you bought the deluxe edition or whatever it was called, the Shah Touch mounts that you got are for some reason not in the game anymore. So again, they're probably things that are going to be hotfixed tomorrow for NA and hopefully actually fixed before they even go live on EU, but I thought I'd let you know, just so you don't panic when you log in and you're like, where are my mounts gone? So actually some interesting news for Mr. Pandaria, and it's nice to think that we probably are actually going to be doing Throne of Thunder before Christmas, and maybe I was just scaremongering with saying that it's going to be after Christmas, even though I'd still rather it launched a little bit later and it was in a polished state rather than it being rushed and we've got a buggy mess. But we'll see. They could prove me wrong and actually they've got it pretty polished already, and we have an absolute bug-free PTR. I don't see it personally, and I also hate the fact that it's midweek. I just want to put that out there. I hate the fact that there's midweek testing, because that really limits the amount of participation they're going to get. Because like us, you know, when it's a weekend PTR test, we no life it the entire weekend. But with it being midweek and people having to work, that's just not going to happen. We're going to get a fraction of the amount of hours in the first PTR test as we will the second. So I would have rather they didn't rush quite as much and it was 2 weekends rather than a midweek and a weekend, but, you know, who knows. So if you enjoyed the video, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see me stream, I stream over on kick.com/Scottejaye, pretty much only streaming War Within, Midnight Alpha, and Remix at the moment, but obviously I will be streaming the raid tests and the PTRs, so come over and say hello. I'll see you on the next one.